Hi, my name is Eileen Johnson, and I'm honored to be with you today for part 2 of the Eucharist is Action. As Father Greg mentioned in his reflection last week, the Eucharist is action, not a spectator sport. And he pointed out 4 important verbs that we hear throughout the gospel stories when relating to the Eucharist. They are take, bless, break, and share. I've been asked to reflect on the taking or receiving of the action. I've been a parishioner at Viz for over 20 years, and I'm blessed to be part of a large family, one of the 9 Joe Crow kids. 7 of the siblings, along with their spouses and many of their children and now grandchildren, regularly attend Mass at Viz. We usually sit together in the southwest section of the church, which Father Rush used to affectionately call Crow Corner. Most weeks going to Mass is like a homecoming, walking into Viz knowing that I will see friends and family, that we intentionally come together to worship God. I know there are disagreements about politics, the practice of religion, the best way to parent, etc. among the people at Mass. Heck, I know it among my own family. But having this place to come together and participate in the Mass together, not just as individuals, somehow that makes the connections we have become so much stronger than the disconnections that can divide us. I try to hold on to that inspiration and come back to it when the disconnections gain ground. I think this is a good example of taking and receiving the Eucharist in an active way. I've been a Eucharistic minister for many years. It's awesome and a bit overwhelming to think about all the people that I've had this intimate moment with. The action of giving the body of Christ to others is about receiving also. I try to make eye contact with each person and am very aware of their hands reaching out to receive the Eucharist. I feel Jesus' presence in the interaction and am changed and open to God's grace. Being a Eucharistic minister never gets old. Another thing I think about receiving the Eucharist is that even though there is no question about Jesus' presence, there is a question about how open I am able to be and receive Jesus in my heart and into my everyday life. Again, I try to receive the grace and love actively and feel the presence and change that it brings, but I have to admit, some days are better than others as to how my heart is opened. It takes intentional attentiveness to keep up the active part of receiving. When Mass is over, we shouldn't say, okay, I did my duty until next week. The action of participating in the Mass, being in community, and receiving the Eucharist should send us out into the world to do our part to bring Jesus' love and way of life to the larger community. Most of us don't live lives of great sacrifice or great holiness, but we do make differences all the time in our small ways to reflect Jesus' love. When the church was renovated, there was a saying, a Latin phrase put above the doors. I won't try and butcher the Latin, but it means go and teach all nations. I think that's another indication of our call after receiving the Eucharist. Being a part of this vibrant visitation community and having a place to go each week, or even daily if I want, to Mass, is a gift that I am so blessed to receive. I pray that I am open to the grace and goodness that surrounds me, and I have the strength and courage to go out into the world and to share God's love and to encourage others to receive it too.